Congresswoman, this is massive breaking news. Welcome to the program. Thank you for joining us. Congresswoman,
Hello?
just checking in. Can you hear us? Yep.
Benny?
Can you hear us? Yep. Can you hear us?
Yeah. Sorry, it was a little bit of a delay there. I can. Breaking
All right.
news. Actually,
Fantastic.
just gone off the phone with the oversight committee.
And give us an update here. This it dropped like a massive bombshell. Nobody ever thought we'd see Hillary Clinton being subpoenaed again, and you didn't stop there. What's happening on the oversight committee?
Well, look, this came via a subcommittee, and as you know, we're following through on those subpoena requests. So it was actually Democrats. This was a bipartisan vote to actually bring everyone in to testify in regards to their involvement with Jeffrey Epstein. What's been really interesting about this whole thing is that, look, the media has tried to push this like a hot potato. They don't want to talk about the Democrat mega donors and Democrat business owners, also political elites that are involved in this. And so to see Democrats vote for that, we're sending the subpoenas. So, you know, there were some people that did not want the subpoena to go through. Those were Republican members of Congress. I won't name them yet. But what I will tell you is, you know, ultimately House Oversight's function is to restore faith in government. And that means that we have to look at people across the board. So we're looking forward to seeing what's in these documents.
Okay, so tell me, this is Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton who will be appearing before your committee. Is this correct? They'll be physically appearing, yes?
Correct, unless they try to fight the subpoena. But I don't see the Attorney General giving them an out like Garland gave everyone else an out when they would defy subpoenas in the last administration. So it's not going to just be them that will be called to testify. But, you know, I would not be surprised if we hear a whole lot of pleading the fifth.
So wait a second. What are you planning on asking Hillary Clinton? This is very exciting, Congresswoman.
Well, we just got news today that we're sending the subpoena. So I'm going to obviously be meeting with the staff and working with some of our investigators and attorneys. But look, also too, this comes at the same time that Ghislaine Maxwell also tried to negotiate, you know, immunity for not testifying to Congress, or saying that she would only come to testify after her Supreme Court date if we gave her immunity. So we're going to be having to vote on that, by the way, at the same time. Of which, to be clear, I'm not in favor of giving any sex traffickers immunity, period. But either which way, I think that everyone wants to know, you know, to what extent, to what level was the former president, Bill Clinton, involved with Jeffrey Epstein. We know President Trump had stated that he flew on Epstein's plane many, many times. And obviously, you know, Epstein was not a good guy. So let's just hope that no other people were harmed.
So hold on. Are you going to be asking simply Epstein questions? Or are you going to ask any questions about Hillary Clinton and the Steele dossier and the meetings with Barack Obama and the FBI and the corruption therein to try and rig in a hit job on President Trump?
So the subpoena from Oversight is specifically covering the Jeffrey Epstein. I believe it's House Judiciary that actually has oversight in regards to the Russia collusion, Steele dossier stuff. So they would have to send their own subpoena for that information. But as you know, Benny, as long as the subpoena is there and written, they're only required technically to address the issues that the subpoena cover.
Okay, so all of these subpoenas are for Epstein-related issues and not for Obama, Steele dossier, Russiagate related issues.
Correct. And that is for now. It doesn't mean that we can't bring more subpoenas. But again, usually the purview of jurisdiction for oversight covers something different than House Judiciary.
So this is a wild thing, Congresswoman, because we have often railed on this program until our voices cracked that Hillary and Bill Clinton have done hundreds of thousands of hours of interviews, some live, some not. Either way, they've never been asked about Epstein once, which I find remarkable.
Well, they're going to have to answer a whole lot of questions, especially because it's literally going out today. Also, too, it's interesting because the Democrats were the ones that also voted for it. So, you know, look, credit to Chairman Comer where it's due. He did receive a lot of pressure from, again, certain members that didn't want to send these subpoenas, but he's doing the right thing in regards to bringing them in to answer questions.
Excellent. So one fascinating name here is Alberto Gonzales and Robert Mueller. He was the director of the FBI, and Alberto Gonzales was the head of the DOJ when Epstein got his true get-out-of-jail-free card. The actual cover-up was in 2005, 2006, 2007, when Epstein was allowed to skate, even though they had him dead to rights. Those are, I think, going to be some very, very powerful and important questions. What do you intend on asking, Congresswoman?
I'm asking them directly who authorized this information to be placed in burn bags and what information do they have about the former deputy director of the FBI destroying evidence pertaining to Jeffrey Epstein, which we know right now the FBI is actively investigating. So this is not a conspiracy theory. This happened. Actually, it was your show that kind of tipped me off to follow up with one of those whistleblowers. And now that's a full-fledged investigation. So kudos to you, Benny.
So hold on. You're confirming to us that the FBI has destroyed Epstein evidence.
I'm confirming that there's an open investigation and that the leads on your show resulted in them finding burn bags pertaining to Russiagate and potentially Epstein. Yes.
Well, this is news to us, and we're excited to hear that. A lot of these things happen, obviously, in a secured environment, but that makes us really happy on this program. So the entire burn bag saga began with our show. Well, that's wonderful to hear.
Correct. It had ties to it for sure.
Okay.
So look, right now, obviously, the American people are rightfully so really frustrated with how, there's been just this lapse of justice within our own government for people that are very elite, very wealthy, very powerful. And I'm just really happy to know that under this administration that people are being held accountable. And I will say this, there's a lot that happens behind the scenes, but the fact is that they are arresting, they're going after these people. And, had Tulsi not come forward with that information in regards to Russiagate, I mean, think about it, literally people using their positions of power to violate constitutional rights, civil liberties, go after people, spy. It can't be tolerated in a free, fair society. So thank you for doing what you're doing to cover all this, Benny.
Well, I mean, listen, all we want is the answers. And so, yes, I really hope that you ask former FBI Director Robert Mueller, why did you let Jeffrey Epstein off the hook and say that he was working with the FBI? We have that in the documents, that he was a protected FBI informant, and the FBI recommended that he be let off the hook when they had him dead to rights for the underage sex trafficking of 50 young women. This was in the year 2006. So we really hope that you press old Robert Mueller about that decision, along with Alberto Gonzales, who is the one who forced... We know this as a matter of fact because we've run these leads down. Alberto Gonzales forced the Attorney General, Alex Acosta, to not bring federal charges against Epstein. Why the hell did he do that? Somebody please explain that to me.
We're about to find out.
Yes. Thank you. It's music to our ears. And I just a very quick thought here, Congresswoman, before you go. Do you believe that this is going to be a massive backfire on Democrats for trying to make this the cause celeb? They attempted to smear President Trump with this Epstein issue. Do you believe that this is going to be a massive backfire?
Yeah, and I say that because it was Democrats back in November of 23 that blocked Marsha Blackburn's efforts to get the flight logs. It was Dick Durbin that did that. Democrat senator from Illinois, I believe. So I think that they did not anticipate the transparency. But again, literally one of the most transparent administrations that we've seen so far. And that doesn't even just stop there. I mean, we're getting the MLK, JFK, RFK, all of that. So, yeah, I think it's going to backfire. I also think it was interesting that in their own efforts to, want to bring people out, go after the DOJ, which, to be clear, I do believe the DOJ is going to be releasing their own stuff, probably on their own accord. But they did not maybe realize that they were sending the subpoena to Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton and everyone else in between. So that was actually a motion brought forward by Scott Perry. Scott Perry was actually viciously gone after during January 6th. So, interesting. It's a bipartisan effort and they're subpoenaing their top dogs. You have Republicans that are saying, wait, should we really be subpoenaing the former president of the United States? And everyone's saying, well, it's pertaining to Jeffrey Epstein. And also the Democrats agree. So it'll be interesting to see them twist themselves into knots on that one.
Fascinating. Do you intend on, point of personal privilege here, Congresswoman, do you intend on asking Bill Clinton why there is a velour oil painting of him in a Monica Lewinsky blue dress sitting seductively inside of the Oval Office, hanging in the entryway of Jeffrey Epstein's $56 million mansion on the Upper East Side?
I'm sorry about that. My toddler's in the background. I'm pretty
Family
much
show.
last.
Family show.
Yeah, I'm last in the speaking order just based on seniority, but I'm sure someone's going to be asking that question. They'll probably be fighting for that question.
Oh, okay. Well, we know you're on the phone, but we have the photo up right now, and it's as creepy today as the first time I saw it years ago. And Bill Clinton's never had to answer for this. I'm sure there's something more that he knows. Did he pose for this painting? I'm not sure. But you'll have him before your committee. Do you think that he'll claim executive privilege? Will he claim that I guess he can't because he wasn't president. He has no executive privilege because he.
I mean, I think I really am going to be surprised if he shows up. I think they're going to fight tooth and nail with this subpoena. I really do. And I think that we're probably going to have to go for I would really doubt that he's going to come in at the first request. So let's see how this plays out. But pertaining to that oil painting, super creepy. There was a lot of super creepy stuff that Jeffrey Epstein had. I know that Project Veritas had kind of covered that on some of the stuff and photos that they found in his place in the Virgin Islands. So obviously we're trying to go after who should be charged. I think that, there needs to be multiple people charged on this. But one of the issues that we had with getting Ghislaine Maxwell even in to testify on this is that she's wanting, to be basically given, a pardon for her crimes. And the fact is that she trafficked people and she wants some immunity, and she won't testify unless we give it to her. So imagine being placed with that. Do you want information, or, you're going to basically be given immunity for all this? And it's a hard decision to make, but I've always stood straight in my convictions that if you're engaging in trafficking, you shouldn't be given a pass.
Yes, she's no hero in this story, and she shouldn't be treated like one. She's the villain in this story. She has a lot of useful information, but she's the villain in this story. She's not a hero.
Correct.
Yes.
And she was, as a result of her decision, she really hurt a lot of young women, and, we'll have to deal with that for the rest of their lives. So it's obviously going to be an interesting September surprise. So
yes.
I'm here for it. I know you guys will be, and I look forward to coming back on.
Yes, some of these subpoenas start in August, at the very tail end of August. This is going to be fascinating. Very quickly, what happens if somebody fights these subpoenas? What happens if they just don't show up? What's the recourse that Congress has?
There's contempt charges, which we can vote on, and then the DOJ can prosecute, which I'm sure Pam Bondi would love to prosecute some of these people. So there's that. And then there's also the inherent contempt charge, which, remember, I brought against Garland, and I doubt anyone would have the backbone to try to stand up to a subpoena, try and get information on Jeffrey Epstein. So I will happily file those inherent contempt charges if we don't see any movement from the DOJ.
Well, this is exactly what it's. I love the fact that we can hear your beautiful family in the background. This is what standing up for families actually looks like. And this is what protecting children actually looks like, is getting to the answers here and making sure that those who were at the very, perhaps just accomplices or sat back and watched, as Cindy McCain says. We all knew what Jeffrey Epstein was doing. No one would go after him. That's what she said. And so it'd be very interesting to ask some of these top law enforcement officials, what did they know and why did they let him go? Because they did something. Alberto Gonzales and Robert Mueller let him go. They let him go, right? They're the guys.
It's going to be interesting to see where this all leads. And what I will tell you, Benny, is that until we really see the files, it's for the most part speculation. But that's exactly why I think transparency is needed. And I look forward to seeing what comes out of it. Yep.
Final note here, just because we've been covering this. Final note here, the depositions from the young women that have already been public says that Bill Clinton liked them young. That's in black and white. That's not salacious rumors from Reddit. That's literally on the documents. And then also Kevin Spacey said that there were young girls on the flight that he took with Bill Clinton and that it put the president in jeopardy. What does that mean? We really hope that you ask.
Thank you, Benny. We'll talk soon.
All right. Thank you, Congresswoman.